Naming conventions are important, but the names within them can cause frustration. Many years ago, I worked as a project manager for a company that built our own software as an extension of existing software. Within this role, I had to deal with the developers sharing the client vision as well as to deal with the client, showing their vision in demonstrations. For this story, it's important to note that the naming convention for our servers were based on their primary location. NE equals Newcastle, PO equals Portsmouth, RD equals Richmond, and so on. Late on a Tuesday evening, I asked a developer to release the latest version of our software to a test server. The server was called NE Test. The conversation went like this. I say, yes, please release the software on the NE Test server ready for validation tomorrow morning with the client. Developer says, NE Test? I say, yes, NE Test. Developer says, okay. The following morning, I wanted to demo the software. I log into the NE Test server only to find that the latest version of the software isn't there. I reach out to the developer and ask him where the release is that we discussed the previous evening. Developer says it's on PO Test, but I asked for it to be on NE Test. Developer says, yes, NE Test, so I chose PO. Only then did the penny drop for me. NE Test versus NE Test. Not so much a tech support story, but a cautionary tale. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Jon. Today we're taking a look at r/Tales from Tech Support. Yeah, I can totally understand the confusion there. Depending on how long this developer's been around, I mean, I can see where if you don't slow down and specify or like enunciate your words, I guess, your letters and your words, I tend to speak somewhat quickly sometimes, at least quickly for me. Some people say I talk too slow, but whatever. If you speak too fast, I tend to speak like with a little bit of a mush mouth. So, you know, I can see where if you're speaking fast, saying NE Test, if you say it fast enough, NE Test, well then basically you just gave the developer carte blanche to put it wherever he saw fit. Got to be very precise with what you want. It's like dealing with kids. Can you plug in the power cord? I don't know what that is. So I'm working from home this week because my car's in the shop. While working from home, I get a call from an angry user that demands I help their new employee get in their new laptop now. I explain my situation and ask if I can do it remotely, to which they refuse and insist they need someone in person. I check in with my coworkers to see if anyone else is available to go on site, and they're not. I relay this to the customer and ask again if I can do it remotely. They're frustrated, which I understand, but the issue isn't hard, and I'm 99% sure I can do it over the phone. Despite saying this and being polite, this user gives attitude and acts helpless. I ask, so is the computer imaged? Manager says, I don't know. I say, if you power it up, will it bring you to the sign-on screen? Manager says, we haven't checked yet. I say, okay, can you power it up and check now? Manager, ugh. Manager powers up the laptop and says, okay, it just shows the time. I say, okay, can you click past that? Should just be a Windows sign-in screen. Manager says, okay, yeah, I see it. I say, okay, perfect. Can you plug in the Ethernet to the laptop, the green cables we use? Manager says, there's none available. I say, okay, well, can we use the one in your office that you're using? Manager, ugh, fine. We proceed to unplug the Ethernet cable from the manager's docking station and plug it directly into the new employee's laptop. After this is done, it takes less than 5 minutes for me to remote in, help user change password, and sign her into her email. Because Windows now has our organization's password cached for the new employee, she can now access our Wi-Fi and doesn't need Ethernet. I say, awesome, looks like we got the new employee in. Anything else? Manager says, yeah, she needs her docking station and monitors set up. I say, oh, cool, that's easy. First, let's start with the docking station. Can you plug in the power cord to the wall outlet? Manager says, we're in my office though, I don't have any available. I say, okay, can you go to hers? Oh, yeah. Now they're in the new employee's office. I say, were you able to plug in the power cord? No, the wall outlet's stuck behind a desk. Can you move it? Ugh. They move the desk and tell me it's done. Thank you, now plug in the power cord. Manager says, I don't know what that is. You don't know which one the power cord is? It's the cable with the ends that look like you can plug it into the outlet. Manager says, oh. She plugs it into the outlet and tells me she's done. I say, excellent, now plug in the other end of the docking station, the black box you have, and then when you're done, plug in the cables from the black box into the laptop. Manager says there's nowhere to plug it into the laptop. I say, are you sure? You're not mistaking it for the one that goes in the back of the docking station, right? Manager says, no, I know what you're asking, and this laptop doesn't have a place to plug in the docking station. I say, that can't be true, because every laptop we purchase has the USB-C ports. At this point, the manager's fed up with me. She hands the phone to the new employee. I can hear her grumbling to her colleague in the background. I can't find it, but apparently the IT guy says all our computers have it, so I guess I'm wrong. New employee says, hi. I say, okay, I need you to plug in the docking station to the laptop. It'll be the thin connection with rounded ends. New employee says, okay. I say, okay, do you see the light come on? New employee says, yes. All right, perfect. I see your computer's charging now too. Excellent. Now plug in the power cable on one of the monitors. New employee says there's no room left in the outlets. Oh, do you guys have an extension cord? New employee says, let me check. A minute goes by. No, we don't. I say, okay, well, unfortunately, you'll have to be without your external monitors until you get an extension cord, or I can bring one to you. Manager gets put back on the phone. This is unacceptable. I put this ticket in days ago, and no one's helped me, and I can't have her not being able to work. I say, I don't understand how she's not able to work. She signed in and has her email and power cord. Another employee takes the phone. I found an extension cord. I'm going to help them finish setting up. Thank you for your assistance. We'll call you if we need anything else. I say, no worries. Sorry again, I can't be there. I'm now relieved I don't have to be on the call anymore. I do understand that it can be frustrating having to set up your employee's laptop, which sounds like it would have only taken maybe 10 minutes to do everything, including finding the extension cord. But unless your company has a very specific policy on only the tech people can set anything up, as far as setting it up on the desk or at the workstation, docking area, whatever. Unless there's a very specific rule in place for that, then, suck it up. Get it done. It'll be okay. This manager sounded like she just likes being difficult no matter what. She wants to be in charge. She wants her opinions heard. And she just likes to be a little control freak. Go figure. Undesirable apps and their problems. This is a tale from the Windows 8 era. My family and I were in the Capitol for a gaming convention, and my mom had taken her laptop with us. I came back from the convention to my aunt's home, and my mom called me, telling me that her laptop was way slower than before. I asked her what happened, and she said that my cousin installed an IPTV software. Wasn't against them back then, but keep reading. As soon as I saw the desktop and opened Explorer, I knew exactly where my cousin got the app from. A software aggregator site. Before I continue, that specific software aggregator site was famous for bundling undesired software in their installers. I think you guys here at Tales from Tech Support know a lot of them. Why did I know? Because the browser was full of toolbars, and the desktop had a lot of undesired software shortcuts, and the homepage had been modified by those apps. So here's what I did to solve that. I went to the Program Uninstaller feature in Windows, can't remember how it was called back then, and removed those apps and toolbars one by one. Then I removed the IPTV, can't say that damn acronym, and reinstalled from a source I trusted, the developer's own website, including its online radio feature. It was missing in the previous install that I removed. Then I set up an administrator account with a password and lowered my mother's privileges. Then I enabled UAC, somehow it was disabled, and installed an AV that I trusted, MSE. I don't know what that is either. Microsoft Explorer? I don't know. Anyway, then I told my mom the password. It was her laptop, and logged onto the client account. No install privileges. And I told her to come to me if someone needed a program to be installed into that laptop. Oh man, I felt every bit of this story, even though I don't know what half of this guy was talking about, but I do understand that, like my wife will click on a link that's supposedly a trusted link, and then all of a sudden, she's got a Yahoo toolbar and browser instead of the usual Google stuff. She's got some kind of, advertisement, not silently, like no video, but you can hear the advertisement playing in the background, like on her phone or on her laptop, totally hidden from sight. You can't see it no matter what you hover over. Basically just hijacking her computer, giving her advertisements and really loud, ugly music. I try to be nice about it, but she gets so frustrated talking about the stupid phone or the stupid computer. And I'm like, listen, phones and computers can only do what we tell them to do. And if we click on a link, and I've done it before. I've clicked links, to see a video clip of something, and all of a sudden I've got all kinds of crap loaded onto my PC or my phone. I've been much better the last 5-10 years, but before that, I didn't even think about it. If I wanted to see something, I just clicked. Now I know better, and I look at the address bars and things like that, but I can't get my wife to do that, so I feel the pain of this person. It can definitely be very, very frustrating, both for the user, OP's mom, and for OP because he's got to deal with the aftermath, or she. Anyway, they've got to deal with the aftermath. Do work for me, but make sure you don't document it so that I won't have to explain it. In the giant corporation I work for, a change request contains work units. and each work unit is assigned to a team and then a member of that team. The way it's supposed to work, of course, is that the change request is reviewed and approved by all the teams assigned to do work. In the all-too-common event that a change requires work that was not part of the original request, an additional ticket can be created and attached to the change so that everything is documented. The catch here is that this requires further review after the change is complete. The people who wrote the change request are made to explain what happened and to rework their processes to avoid adding work to changes midstream like this. It's intentionally kind of a pain in the ass to go through this additional review to keep people from bypassing the whole review and approval process. That's the end of the background. So the other day I'm working along and I catch a ticket. In support of ongoing change number 8675309. Wait, that's in a song. 8675309. Anyway, please confirm that this machine is online. I look up the change request by the number and I see that my team does not have a work unit assigned to us. However, the work is so trivial and is so low in risk, never zero but a gnat's whisker away in this case, that I decided not to attach the ticket to the change. I check the machine, see that it's up and happy, report that fact, and close the ticket. Done and dusted. Or so I thought. However, the ticketing system has been abused like this before, so there is apparently a filter that looks for change numbers in the ticket text and automatically attaches them to the referenced changes. On my next workday, I had an angry email from the change requester. They wanted me to detach the ticket from my change request. It was apparently deeply inconvenient that they had to explain themselves to upper management about all of this. Of course, they copied my boss, and his boss, and his boss, which runs me right out of political space to do as they ask. They had just told my senior boss that the policy was followed, so I can't possibly now break policy. I replied, sorry, I didn't attach the ticket to the change request. An automated process did, because you wrote in support of ongoing change number 8675309 in the ticket. And anyway, that's how the policy works. If this is work related to your change, then it has to be documented as such. I think the attachment is correct by policy. Please feel free to check with my managers, whom you have already copied on this email thread if you have additional discussion on the matter. I thought that would kill the issue, stone dead, but they doubled down. Don't you know I have to explain this to the Change Review Council now? I was warming up my keyboard to reply when my boss did it for me. I've reviewed this and I agree that Otto is correct here. Any work related to a change should be included in the change request. I didn't hear back after that. You know, I don't know a ton about tech support and things like that. I know just enough to be dangerous and break things. But one thing I do know in a work-related environment is that I love when morons tell on themselves. Sometimes it takes the joy out of it for me. Sometimes it's like I'm a little kid in a candy store. I'm just like, I get all tingly and excited because I know exactly what's going to happen as soon as they start opening their mouths. Basically, I didn't have to do any of the work. Funny how nobody likes accountability though, isn't it? A tale about cheap tech and lost data. So, my mom was always the person to cheap out on items. Any items. But especially on tech for some reason. Whenever we got something like a phone or tablet, it was the lowest end, lowest spec device. This is also the reason I never played any games more demanding than Minecraft, until I got myself a laptop for my own money. Notably though, she cheaped and still cheaps out on storage devices. First micro SD card she ever bought was for me. It failed after 2 weeks and my data got lost. Obviously I was the one who had to try and fix it, as she didn't have a clue how. As a 6-year-old at the time, I failed to do so. Now it's been many years since then. She stores all her data on cheap pen drives, micro SD cards, and 15-year-old hard drives, for comparison. I, on the other hand, bought a Seagate hard drive and some good quality micro SD cards. Now all these old micro SD cards and pen drives of hers started corrupting. I went through them a while ago. When I did that, I made backups of both her and my data, which though she doesn't know about. This isn't a tech support story yet, but I'm pretty sure it will be as soon as she realizes all these drives aren't as good as she thought. Over everything, she values memories and photos, though buying a good quality device to store them on is obviously not worth it. I hope she'll take a lesson out of it though and stops cheaping out on storage that much, even though I don't care that much anymore as these are her files, not mine. Why the heck am I ranting about this? You have no idea how much data, photos, and progress in games I've lost over the years because of this. Plus, I'm passionate about tech, so she expects that I will be able to fix it if it breaks. Well, yeah, I can fix a broken PC, but data recovery is a different story. Whether I should tell her about the backup, I'm still debating on, but I think it'll be best to wait until she will want to look at the photos and learns her lesson. Oh, I'm kind of torn on this one, OP. You know, I understand what you're talking about. You know, I've had people in my direct family in this household buy cheap stuff. I've done it. I've bought cheap stuff before because I thought I could get away with it. Either I didn't know better at the time or I just didn't think it was that big a deal. Now, as somebody who is passionate about tech stuff, which you seem to be, you should be more understanding of your mother because she's not a tech person. Now, if you started out a family at, say, 13 years old, 14, 15 years old, not knowing anything about running a family, you know, fathering or mothering a child, whatever the case may be, and, you know, your mom was giving you advice on stuff, I'm pretty sure you would only listen to about half of it. And, you know, you'd probably screw up along the way and not listen to her about other stuff. It's the same thing. She may be smart in other ways and things like that, but you got to kind of treat it with kid gloves. I would definitely give her pictures and stuff back if her stuff is actually corrupt. Tell her though that, you know, she's got to stop buying cheap stuff or they're going to get lost again. But I'm not sure I would be too hard on her but I'm not sure I'd beat her up too bad over this. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. When a CEO requests for a hard-coded ID to be changed, presumably for an important reason. I had a request in from a company CEO to change a fundamental database two-letter ID to match another analysis field ID. E.g., in one table, a thing has the ID of CE, and the corresponding analysis ID in another table has the ID of CD. I understand that request in principle. You'd ideally want these to line up so that you can easily align reporting metrics and keep things generally tidy and easy to follow. In foresight, this would have been a very sensible approach to naming conventions. Here's the problem. These IDs are literally 20 years old at this point. We're talking a company with maybe 15 different branches in different locations, hundreds of staff, terabytes of data going back decades, millions or tens of millions of records. It predates several company mergers. It affects reporting automations, validations, all sorts of things. And the reason this idea is comical, 2 letters, is because it's basically one of the most fundamental things you would set up in this system before you had any data. The other thing is that this is quite easily solved with sensible coding anyway. The IDs don't need to match, however much you might want them to visually. I asked why he wants to change the prefix, assuming it was something to do with how they need the reporting to function going forward, and he said it's just annoying that it's not the same. I want them to be uniform. I'm still figuring out the best way to deal with this one. I know the CEO to be a pedantic ass about stuff like this. I suspect he thinks it's entirely reasonable to have his entire company implode for a couple of weeks just so that he can look at this one 2-letter prefix and feel happier that it looks right. How does one politely say, you may as well ask to realign the foundations of your house because it's a couple of degrees not parallel with the pavement. While I understand this CEO's sentiment of wanting things to line up visually and be easier for reporting and everything else in the long run, if this database is that old with that many changes over the years, going in now and totally reworking it, I'd almost bet that you probably wouldn't have them back up and running properly in 2 weeks. So, you know, that implosion for 2 weeks thing, yeah, I bet it'd be over a month with all the stuff that you're talking about. Although I will say, you should be able to rewrite code in the background, like, you know, rewrite the code off to the side, totally detached from the live software, and actually do a test environment and make all the changes you need to make and then make it go live over one weekend or something like that. But that's still a lot of man hours, you know, put into making all those changes so that they align with everything in the databases and the software. So I don't know, man. If it's been going along this long for, you know, with no issues, then I'm pretty sure I probably wouldn't touch it either. Sounds like a mess. By the way, speaking of messes, you want to know one of the best ways to clean yourself up when you're messy? How about a handmade all-natural soap? Yes, we make soap. It's weird. We record videos, make soap. We do all kinds of stuff around here. But if you're into that kind of handmade stuff, soaps, bath products, traditional shave soaps, beard balms, and oils, of course, then do me a favor and head on over to this website, unclejohnsoap.com. From now until just about Valentine's Day, we're running a Valentine's special with coupon code LOVE2025. I don't know why I keep wanting to say 24. LOVE2025. It'll be down here in the description. So, you know, go onto the site, look around, poke around, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your data losing mom, and, you know, tell her to clean her act up and get some Uncle Jon soap. All right, guys, till the next video, we'll see you.